I'm Trish Jenkins. I'm with Soroptimist International Moreton North Inc. Club, and I am with Jo Stevens today to hear her story. Jo and two other ladies, Sam and Alyssa, who I've already done a group interview with that you can look online to see that interview. They formed the Brain Awareness Centre as a support for people who suffered brain injury, acquired brain injury, and their families, so that they would have somewhere to go to make some friends, have some fellowship, get some information, because it's quite overwhelming. Well, my goodness, Jo, I'm amazed at what you've been able to do in service of other people, and that you have so much experience on both sides of, like, you've been a nurse and now you are living with a brain injury yourself. Please tell us your story.
Well, before 2015, I was a qualified nurse and I was working taking blood as a specimen collector. And then in May 2015, I had an accident. It took till 2016 before they realised my brain had started to slide down my spinal cord.
Wow. Now, what was the accident?
It was a collision with a patient, basically. There's a lot of things involved in how the accident happened, but it turned out that he was fine and I wasn't.
So you bumped into each other and fell over in the hospital?
Basically.
Not in a car, but,
no,
but in
just,
the passage?
Just, he was in my room and I was taking some blood and he had a seizure, and so we both ended up on the floor, and just the mechanism started a domino effect, and I had brain surgery in 2016, so it took nearly 9 months before I met the right person who could diagnose what was wrong, but in that time lots of symptoms started to appear which affected my ability to work.
Right. Wow. So it was more than headaches. I imagine there would have been headaches and discomfort and anxiety. Over the time I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't articulate what it was because I didn't know what was wrong. Because on the day I had the accident, all I had was a small bruise on my face where I collided with his shoulder, and that was the only external sign that something had happened to me. Wow.
But that was the beginning of the domino effect of things in my body just starting to change and be affected. So
is that because you had a bump to the face, and that obviously had a knock-on effect to your brain?
It was just the way the accident went down, and it's just so I ended up with a Chiari malformation by trauma.
Chiari malformation.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's in Australia, it's deemed a rare condition. So finding somebody that knew what that word was, and then finding the right people who knew how to fix it, basically, took nearly 9 months.
Okay.
And because I was hurt at work, that was going through the work cover system.
Right. Well, I guess that's something that's good, that you had work cover involved, or was that not so good?
For me, it was quite combative because I didn't have any external evidence what was wrong. So if I'd broken my arm on the day, I would have had plaster, I could have had to have pins and plates or whatever. You have your physio, you get better. But I had nothing external, but my medication was changing and becoming more intense because I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't do my job properly because I started having symptoms with my hands and my arm. And
oh my gosh.
So being believed was a big thing.
And this is a hospital. This is where, if anywhere would understand something could happen.
I was in a clinic, not in a hospital.
A clinic.
In the clinic where I worked, yeah.
Yeah, but like medical professionals you know, like everyday people.
Yeah.
We talked in the group interview about people, like it's an unseen injury and people don't always realise that someone's dealing with something. And you're with medical people, so it was even harder. Like they should know, but how would they?
On reflection, I've thought about this a lot, and people can understand car accident or concussion in sport, like they're really well understood. But a brain injury can happen through very seemingly minor things as well, like a trip and fall or having a heart attack and not having enough oxygen, things like that.
Yes.
But they're not big and loud, they're rather quieter things, and I think my accident was probably landed in the more quiet.
Yes, underestimated.
Yeah, so I ended up seeing the brain surgeon on the Thursday, and I was in on the Tuesday.
Oh,
it
wow.
was really quick when we found out after nearly 9 months what exactly was wrong.
So with the brain surgeon, was that because something had changed in your brain by that time, or if you had had the same scans with the brain surgeon earlier, would they have seen what they saw and got you into surgery, or is that not knowable?
It's possible, but when you're going through work cover, you have to go through the motions.
And you've got to wait.
And you're dealing with a system that when you're slightly out of the realm of what's acceptable and what's normal, it was a big battle in the end. And but we ended up finding out the results on the Thursday, and I was in first thing on the Tuesday.
Well, that's good that they acted quickly once they knew that something needed to be done. But gosh, what an ordeal! And I
was in a bit of trouble by then.
Wow. Gosh.
I think, something's really wrong when you agree to have somebody open up your brain.
Oh my gosh.
To fix whatever's wrong. It's not something that anybody does lightly.
No.
And so the consequence of that is I had that surgery, and I've had surgery since. So I have I'm in a fair bit of pain all the time. But that's the price you pay for being alive now, I guess.
That's the price you pay for being alive.
It reminds you that you're alive.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I've stepped on Lego and I knew I was alive. But oh my goodness, that's...
I would like to say, and I have said this many times, that the investment of the people who got me from there to now, I have an obligation to live the best life I can because they invested so much in me to live. Not just the brain surgery, but I've had other surgeries that didn't go so well, and the belief that, I was worth saving, and I'm here, and I have to honour their hard work by at least coming halfway.
Oh my gosh.
Because not everybody gets what I was given, because that's just how the system is. That's what I believe anyway, and I'm in a very fortunate position to be here because I had the right people at the right time doing their absolute best. Anybody in the medical profession wakes up, they wake up each day going in there to do the best fight they can for their patients, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, I've had the best team, and so we have to honour that.
Wow.
I have to honour that by giving back and doing my best. And I think that's where the Brain Awareness Centre sort of germinated, that not everyone has had that opportunity.
No, it can be very isolating and very lonely if you...
It certainly can, and not just for the people who've had the event happen to, but it affected my whole family. It has affected my friendships. It has affected my life. My ability to interact in my community. So those ripple effects from one event have rippled out, and it's affected a lot of other people. I have a husband who has had to learn along the way.
Right.
My parents are elderly. It has frightened them because the thought of, what could have happened. There were a few times along the way where I didn't want to live. So in those moments, I had the right person, my psychologist, who gave me the tools to motivate me to keep going. And there was times I didn't think I was going to make it to 50, and I've just had my 53rd birthday. So
happy birthday.
But that it just shows you that when you have the right people in your corner, and it doesn't have to be a brain injury, it can be anything that alters the trajectory of your life. If they believe in you, it gives you something to fight for, especially when you're in the dark, you know. And I didn't want my legacy, if I tapped out at some point, I didn't want my children or my parents or my husband to have that as their last thing that Joe did.
Wow.
You know, that's how I feel anyway. And I think at the end of the day, people want to live a good life. They don't want to have a life interrupted, which is what I sort of class the brain injury. But within that interruption, you can take a breath. And given time, you can recalibrate. And that's how come we did the Brain Awareness Centre, to provide a space for people to be safe and to recalibrate. And I know we're small, but our dreams are big, because other people really, really deserve the same that I was given, you know. And my team is still amazing.
Wow. Oh, Joe.
But it's not a sad story.
Wow. It's a beautiful story.
It's not
so
sad.
Inspiring.
It's, you know, I'm good friends with my team because we've been through a lot together. But I think it's important to acknowledge those that invest in your life.
Yeah.
It's so important. And medicine can be thankless because people really think you're just going to be there, but it impacts everybody, you know. And I've told people in my team, I must come at least halfway to honour the work that you did, because they came the other half. You know?
Wow, that is so encouraging. Joe,
yeah,
I'm just so moved by your attitude, and when you say these people invested in you, and that you are worth saving. And there'll be people watching who might be feeling that they've had their life interrupted, either in a similar or a very completely different way, and their dreams, their careers, everything has had to take a different direction.
Yeah.
What would you say to them when they're feeling a bit despaired, and if they're about their value and that they're worth?
Yeah, it's funny because we live in a world where people see value if you participate in life. So you have a career, and when that is taken away from you, the identity of who you are, it's shattered.
Yeah.
And so I will say that it was very dark for a long time. I knew I didn't want to stay there, but I think I had to go through that to challenge some of my, what's the word? Just who I thought I was.
Wow, yeah.
But I had the right people on the other side of that saying, you can keep coming and work through it. And they gave me goals, and they gave me the ability to be able to then look up from the dark and go, okay, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to make it count.
Oh my gosh.
It took a long time. Like, I'm not a saint. I'm not saying that it was easy, you know. It was bloody awful for a long time, you know, but it was my misery, and no one else could really understand that because they weren't there. But I had the right people around me just willing me to get my stuff together the best I could. And it's still a work in progress. You know, I'm racked with anxiety all the time because my head isn't right, and my reference of the world is different, but that's just how it is. But You know, I've got good things in my life, you know, and I think because I've survived through some things, I've still got some things to do.
You've still got lots of things to do.
Yeah.
Wow, and the brain injury awareness group is one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you might feel like you don't have those people in your life to help you get through, but you know what? There are people out there. There are people, and particularly if you have an acquired brain injury or your family member does, then you've got this group now that you can reach out to, and they will cheer you on, and they will be a friend, and they will understand and be someone that you can vent and talk to and maybe feel better and give you a bit of...
Well, the thing is, in our community, there are really wonderful programs.
Yeah.
There are wonderful services. There are things out there. But sometimes you just need a safe space, and where there's no judgment, how you got to where you are, the mechanism of how your brain was altered, that's irrelevant. And the loneliness of, well, not having a kindred spirit, you know, in a sense, to be able to just go, oh, this is how I'm feeling, and they're going, sure, I get that. Because some things just can't be fixed, it just is. You know, and so having someone you might just be able to sit down with and say nothing, just knowing that there's a human being there who is ready to listen. Because sometimes, like I know in the past, I have said things because was just in a state. I didn't mean it. It just was how I felt. But the hurt, it takes a long time for people to recover from those things that you say. So, I mean, our ultimate goal with our Brain Awareness Centre is to provide a safe space for people to just be. Because we don't have the answers. We just have life experiences. And fortunately for me, I was given some really, really good, my heroes to look up to, because everybody deserves a hero. You know, everybody deserves someone in their corner to fight for them. And if we can be that soft space to fall, and if we can help connect people in our community with other groups and services that will give them that thing that they need, then that's our job done.
Beautiful.
But it's not a quick process.
No.
You know, I'm 9 years in now, and I'm still working stuff out. But no, I mean, I call it a life interrupted because it absolutely was, but it's on a different path now. So,
and what a tremendous path you've turned it into, and you're helping other people. That's...
Well, I can't be selfish because I was given the gift of time and care by my team, and I just can't be selfish with that. Somebody else should benefit from that. That's how I feel anyway. And if I hadn't had this, I would still be nursing. I would still be doing those things that serve the people who come into my clinic, you know, with taking their blood, which is what I was doing before my career ended. And it was a job that I loved, you know, and so in a way, we're still, you know, hoping to look after people, just in a different arena now.
A different way.
Yeah, yeah.
I was smiling because you said, I can't be selfish.
No.
It's... Oh, wow. So everyone else has no excuse, really. You've given, you've got a way of looking at life that brings life. And Joe, I know that you are going to impact a lot of lives, and I'm so grateful that you and the other ladies and gentlemen involved are out there supporting families, making friends, making a safe place for people to land. Joe Stevens, thank you so much.
Thanks for
sharing what you've had.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.